Hello again. In this video, we're going to look at higher order derivatives for trig functions. Now you may remember in a previous video, we found the derivative of the 6 trig functions, which are shown here in Theorem 312. And so just as a quick reminder, the derivative of sine of x is cosine of x, and the derivative of cosine of x is minus sine of x. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to find the second derivative of sine of x. We know the first derivative of sine of x is cosine of x. So let's find the second derivative of sine of x, which of course just means we have to take the derivative of sine of x twice. Okay, so of course the first time we take the derivative of sine of x, we get cosine of x. But then the derivative of cosine of x, if you remember, is minus sine of x. Okay, so the first derivative of sine of x is cosine of x, but the second derivative of sine of x is actually negative sine of x. Okay, so let's look at the third derivative of sine of x. Now this is just the derivative of the second derivative of sine of x. And we already know what the second derivative of sine of x is, right? It's minus sine of x. And so we just need to find the derivative of a minus sine of x. And of course, you can pull this minus sign out of the derivative operator. And then the derivative of sine of x is just cosine of x. So ultimately, this is minus cosine of x. Okay, so the third derivative of sine of x is actually minus cosine of x. What about the fourth derivative of sine of x? Well, that would just be the derivative of the third derivative of sine of x. And of course, we know the third derivative of sine of x is minus cosine of x. Okay, so we just need to find the derivative of minus cosine of x, and of course you can pull the minus sign out of the derivative operator. And then the derivative of cosine of x is minus sine of x. Okay, and then there's a minus sign in front of that, and so of course that gives you a plus sine of x. Okay, well, what about the fifth derivative? Of sine of x. Of course, that's just the derivative of the fourth derivative of sine of x. And we know the fourth derivative of sine of x. The fourth derivative of sine of x is actually sine of x. And so it boils down to the derivative of sine of x, which we know is cosine of x. Okay? And so we're repeating at this point what we've done before. You can see you're getting cosine of x back now. And so it cycles through. The sixth derivative of sine of x would be minus sine of x. The seventh derivative would be minus cosine of x. And then the eighth derivative would be sine of x. So it just continues to cycle through these four functions. Okay, so there's a pattern here. Okay, let's look at one more. let's say you want to find the second derivative of cosecant of x. Now remember, the first derivative of cosecant of x is minus cosecant of x times cotangent of x. Okay, so the second derivative would be the derivative of cosecant of x and then the derivative of that. Okay, but the derivative of cosecant of x is minus cosecant of x cotangent of x. Okay, and then we're going to take the derivative of this. Now, first of all, you can pull the minus sign out front of the derivative operator. Now, to find this derivative here, we're going to have to use the product rule because it's a product of two functions. Okay, where this is the first one and this is the second one. So let's just run through the product rule. So it's the first times the derivative of the second minus plus the second function times the derivative of the first one. And then don't forget there's a minus sign, right, that sits out in front of all this. Okay, now, the derivative of cotangent of x, if you remember, derivative of cotangent of x is minus cosecant of x squared. Okay, so you have cosecant of x here, but then the derivative of cotangent of x is actually minus cosecant squared x. Okay, plus cotangent of x times the derivative of cosecant of x, which if you remember is minus cosecant squared, or cosecant of x times cotangent of x. Okay, so we end up with this, and let's just clean this up a little bit. You can factor out what's in common here. So notice that you have a cosecant of x here and a cosecant of x here that we can factor out. In fact, it may be useful to factor out a minus cosecant of x because we have a minus sign out front here. So I'm going to factor out minus cosecant of x. Okay, so this minus sign and this cosecant are being factored out front, and that just leaves you with cosecant squared of x. And then over here, you're factoring out this minus cosecant of x, and that leaves you with cotangent of x times cotangent of x, which is just cotangent squared of x. And then this, of course, will give you a plus cosecant of x. Okay, so if you simplify it, this would be in simplified terms. Okay, so I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.